Well, and I was kind of thinking of the darkness. Okay, you've got the plagues that they just came out of. That was an evil darkness. It was an oppressive darkness. It wasn't just, it was dark and I can't see. Because I also get the impression that if you lit a candle, it really didn't penetrate the darkness either for the plagues, at least in Egypt. There was light in the houses in Goshen, but it was darkness in Egypt. So kind of oppressive.
Let's get started. Before we get started on Midrash, though, Devarim 8, verse 10 says, "You'll eat and be satisfied, and you'll bless not your God for the good land He's given you." Let's do that. All we've eaten, ever satisfied. We thank you for the land. It's in Yeshua's name. We thank you. Amen. So we looked at it, and we stopped last week in verse 9. And so there is good reason to think that Antiochus Epiphanes, as the king of the north, is a type and shadow of a future event, because Yeshua refers to it as a future event in Matthew 24. Because in Daniel 11, it says that the abomination of that makes desolate, which is the same phraseology that Yeshua says, Matthew 24:15 says, so when you see the abomination that causes desolation spoken about through the prophet Daniel standing in the holy place, let the reader understand the allusion. That will be the time of those in Yehuda to escape to the hills. If someone's on the roof, he must not go down to gather his belongings from his house. If someone is in the field, he must not turn back to his coat. What a terrible time will be for a pregnant woman and nursing mothers. Pray that you will not have to escape in winter or on Shabbat. For there will be trouble then worse than there's ever been from the beginning of the world until now, and there will be nothing like it again. So the first part of that, the desolation part, is from Daniel 9:27, Daniel 11:31, and Daniel 12:11. And then the second part is from Daniel 12:11, as well as from Joel 2:2, where that is, you see that as well. So this the abomination that causes desolation is something that has happened already when Antiochus did the basically putting a statue of a pagan deity in the Holy of Holies, as well as sacrificing the pig on the altar. So those are both the abominations, I think. So we're talking about the words used here for king of the north and king of the south. For king of the south, it's the word Negev is used.
Okay, that's what you were telling me.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But it seems like it's in parallel with king of the south as Negev. That's what we see where here it says Mitzrayim. Because you have Mitzrayim going against the king of the north, Hatzafon. Mimelech, from the king of the north. So it is Negev shall return to his own land. Admato. It's not Evetz here. Verse 10, but his sons, or Ben, there's a root here for son, shall be stirred up. He shall assemble. A multitude, Hamon.
of his forces great. Again, Rav.
Chayalim is soldiers. Chayalim.
Mhm.
What we call soldiers.
A multitude of soldiers great, Rabim. So of course, it's showing the number, possibly the strength they have, because Rav, of course, is strength at great. So it could be, it's just a multitude of great soldiers, or a large. In other words, I think it's probably what it's saying is a large military force.
Yes.
And one shall certainly on coming, Uva Bo, and overthrow and pass through. Interesting that see here for passing through. Of course, avar is the root word for what? Hebrew, right?
Oh, yeah. One who passes over.
And shall return.
Okay, now why is that one, well, you got two words that don't have any translation.
I think they're looking at it as both these together would mean the same thing, or possibly if it's there could be a difference in manuscripts, possibly. I'm not sure exactly what they're talking about here. Okay, so I see that what they're saying is I think there are some different formulations, Vitguru and then a
Yeah.
Kaf, and then Vitguru here with a Kuf. Not sure about, there might be some different, because you see the words there in different formulations of that same word. It's translated here as his fortress, Mazu, but stirred up, V'itgare. Same, it's V'itgavu here. See, there's a different ending. V'itgare versus V'itgavu. So there's different manuscripts, I guess, has different final letters of that word. You see, well, the root word here is of course shuv, which is like to cease, to stop. It's really kind of the same two-letter root for Shabbat, to stop. But shuv is also part of teshuva, which is to return or
Turn
to repent.
around.
Yeah, turn around. Stop digging a hole. We stirred up his fortress, and you see that as I kind of read that Antiochus, at least the interpretation of who is Antiochus as king of the north in the part of section, says he really was infatuated with his fortresses. He moved with anger, the king of the Negev, and took forth and fight with him, with the king Melech Hatzaphon, king of the north. This is in verse 10 here, I think. And a great multitude, Hamon Rav, shall be given. Recognize the word Natan is as a gift or to give. It's the Natan is gift. Netanyahu, gift of Yah. Nathan, gift of El. Just Nathan, gift. Hamon, Beado, into the hand. Yad is the word for hand. These two central letters here, Yud and Dalet, hand. When he was taken away, multitude shall be lifted up. You often see lifted up as rum, a resh mem, or resh, I think resh vav mem, rum, to elevate, teruma, to elevate, elevation offering. He lift up his heart and shall cast down. Lev, of course, a word for heart. He shall cast down. You can see the root word here, naphil, to like Nephilim would be the same thing, to be thrown down or to fall down. This is he was casting down or throwing down. Many 10,000. So many 10,000s will be thrown down. We shall be strengthened. We shall return, again, shav here. Return for the king, at least just king of north. That's really the word, the letter for four is not actually in the text here. Return the king of the north, and shall set forth a multitude greater than Harishon, the first, or the former, perhaps in this context. Harishon, the first or the former, and after, I guess in context, because Kitz is at the end of or after. Ukitz, Atim, certain. Shanim, years. Recognize that word. Shall certainly come. He said this is certainly, but it's really term. It's a doubling of this. Yavo, vo, I think is what this is saying. There's no Bahahil. You see that the same root word there for army.
Is it army or soldiers, or is it the same?
The army.
It's the same.
Well, that's debatable there.
A great
It's army
It's army.
nowadays. Soldiers, higher.
great riches. Kush. Kush Rav. And much and times. Hahim, in these or in those. And there shall be many. Ravim, verse 14 here. Amad, to stand. So this is to stand up. Against all. Melech HaNegev, the king of the Negev. and the violent ones of your people. So, um, so these people are joining with the king of the south in rebellion against the king of the north of your people, Amecha. So, it's this. I don't think this rebellion is the same. This is too early in our reading for this to be the same as as the ones, the many, as in the Hanukkah story, that many joined in with the with Antiochus or his side to try to renounce their faith to basically be considered to be counted as Syro-Greeks because they wanted to basically appear to be, hide their circumcision and not keep Torah. That was what we'll kind of read later on as he's talking about. But I think this is too early in the reading for it to be talking about those people, although it could be. I think that these people are the ones who are joining in to fight for the king of the south, king of the Negev, against their northern oppressors, hoping that they can have their own kingdom, so to speak. And shall exalt themselves to establish the vision. Chatzon. Chatzon is vision. I'm sorry, Chazon, excuse me, Chazon. But they shall fall. Shalu. So come the king, Hatzaphon, the king of the north, and cast up a mount, Solala, and take Ir, city.
115.
We're in verse 15.
Talking about Antiochus the Great.
Yeah, this is not Antiochus Epiphanes.
No. It is encouraged by Philip, the king of Macedonia, and by the Egyptian rebels, fought the Egyptian general Scopus in Palestine.
Scopus?
Yeah.
It sounds like a Roman name to me. I don't know.
Scopas.
Oh. I don't know that name, I'm afraid.
They were doing some stuff in Sidon too.
So, the most fenced, it's an interesting way of reading that.
Excuse the interruption, guys, but I'm gonna have to go.
Okay.
See y'all.
All right. Shalom.
Give
Shabbat
Debbie a
shalom.
hug from
All right.
Give Debbie a lick for spacing.
Should probably appreciate that more.
Or from spacing, I should say. So the most fenced and the arms of the south. It reads kind of stiffly, I think, doesn't it?
What verse are we?
This is in verse 15.
That's the norm.
Then the king of the north will come and set up a siege works and capture a fortified city. The forces of the south will be insufficient defense. Even his elite troops will not be strong enough to resist.
Well, that's English.
Sorry.
You got,
Well, I was trying to figure out where the fenced thing came in.
Yeah,
Would be fenced, are they talking a fortified city?
yes,
so the arms here is essentially talking about the weaponry or their forces. The forces of the South, or the arms of the South, the weaponry of the South will not withstand. And people, neither his chosen, neither. So his chosen, in the sense, is his, in the translation you read, is like his elite guards.
Yeah, they were talking about he still had his 4 good generals left.
So this is where you see frequently koach, strength.
but it said aim, go, go up above.
Neither.
No,
Mhm.
aim is there's not.
Nothing, right. Neither is chosen, and neither will their strength. Yeah. Ain is the word for nothing or
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
No strength.
No strength, no koach. To make atonement, I wouldn't, I mean,
No, to stand.
to stand, yeah, because amad is a root word here, to stand. La'amod. Doesn't, la'amod in this case does not imply ice cream. La'amod in this case does not imply ice cream.
Okay, law mode, okay.
It's not a la mode. So I think that to make atonement is not quite,
That's not,
it's not, I don't know where that comes from. Where
there's
that
no
is that.
strength to stand.
Yeah, no strength to stand. That's correct. Shall do.
And
Haba, he comes. Al, or Elo, Allah, excuse me. Against, as he pleases. Kitsuno. Again, with aim, nothing. Can stand. I use the same word here. A mode here is to stand. They have that right, pretty much, right? A med here, excuse me. And stand before he shall stand in the land. Here they use the word eretz for land, or Daniel uses eretz for land. So lepana, I mean, pan is face. So face, it's really is to stand before something is essentially stand before his face, so to speak.
stand before it or him.
Mhm.
But
Atsevi, majestic, and shall be consumed. V'chala, Be'ado in his hand. Verse 17. Vayasem. He shall also set his face, pana, to come, lavo, with the power. Betokef. Kol Malkuto. So Vishraim as upright ones, I think I would say it's probably a parallel with Yeshurun. So it's the same, the word, the shar is the same part of that. Perhaps similar.
straight or upright. Yes. So
With him and shall do him asa, to do, uvat, and the daughter of women, nashim, he shall give yitin, the same from it's a shall give, to ruin. So in other words, this thing is not going to work out. This giving his daughter will not work out. Bring to ruin. But not do stand, neither to be. After this he shall turn his face to the coastlands. So if you go back up to verse 17 here, basically saying that they will bring to ruin and will not stand. This will not work out. It's not going to work out. Verse 18, he shall turn. You see, I think there must be some differences in the text between the Yeshev and
With Shem.
the Shem. Yeah. Mem, final mem.
The Sim. Yes.
So, yeah, the Shem. Yes, correct. Yeah. Shall turn his face to the coastlands.
Going to Gaza.
Yeah, I think that's what historically happened. And shall take many, offered by him to cease.
Ishbit.
Ishvit. Now, katzin is a word I don't really recognize. I mean, I'm used to seeing Sar as prince, but not katzin. Katzin, excuse me. Pato.
Let's see. Okay, yeah, he put his attention to the strongholds in his own land, that he would stumble and fall and not be seen again. Antiochus the Great stumbled while trying to plunder the temple of Belus
Yeah, it was
And-
mhm.
one
Another-
night, and he was killed.
the pain deity. Belus. His own behalf shall cause reproach to, moreover, guilty. And it will back to reproach. Shall cause to turn to. He shall turn his face towards the fortress of his own land. Artsel. We shall stumble and fall. Recognize the fall. Okay. And not be found. You have any note about not being found in your thing about this, that Antiochus the Great or whatever it was?
No, it just said he was killed
Hmm.
while plundering one night in that temple.
Okay.
But it doesn't really say what happened to him. He kind of disappeared from that.
Verse 20. Then shall stand up in his estate or in his place a raiser of taxes. Heder, the glory of his kingdom, but days inside few.
Okay,
Achadim.
his successor had huge debts, and the Romans were demanding an annual payment of 1,000 talents. And because of these and other bills, he sent Helodorus, his financial minister, to raid Jerusalem's temple treasury. And then it's 163 BC, he died. There's evidence that Helodorus poisoned him.
Ah.
It's kind of weird to say, I'm sending somebody for taxes. I mean, it's an interesting
Yeah.
statement.
A raiser of taxes, the glory of his kingdom, but days inside few, he shall be destroyed, neither in anger nor in battle.
And he was poisoned by a friend.
You recognize this word, milchama?
It's war.
Mm-hmm. Verse 21. And shall stand up in his place a vile person,
They're kind of going downhill, aren't they?
midseh.
They're getting worse.
Yeah. And not to give to the honor of kingship, hod, glory or honor, I guess, yeah, of kingship, malchut, or kingdom.
Yeah.
We shall come, uva, in time, in a time, shalom, shalom, and obtain the kingdom by intrigue. This is a big word here.
Well, that's a huge word.
Yep.
Pronounce it, please.
Halakot.
Halachot. So halak, not the same as halak walking, but halak. The bet here at the beginning is in, by, or with. Halach lachot. Yeah, halach lachot. Verse 22, and with the arms of a flood. Hashatef. Hashatef. They should be overflowed. So you see a doubling of the words as a way of saying a great flood. A flood, they should be overflowed. Yep. Mm-hmm. Hashatef. And they shall be overflowed before him. Again, you see before him, the root here, pan, before his face, so to speak. And shall be broken. Yishvahu. Also, the prince, Nagid is the word they translate as prince here, Nagid. Prince of the covenant. So, Nagid, Beit.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 23. And after the league with the It's kind of is what it kind of is related to covenant here, right? Because there's Barut, and Barut, the league or the agreement, perhaps. He shall work, asa, of course, will make to do, mirma, deceitfully. He shall come up and shall be strong. Atsam. With a small people. In other words, remember, I think the translation said he shall have only a few followers or something along those lines.
Oh.
This is verse 23.
Alliance will be made with him,
Alliance. Okay.
but he will be undermined, but he will undermine them by deceit.
Mm-hmm.
Then, although he will have but a small following, he will emerge and become strong. So it's kind of like surprise, surprise.
Mm-hmm. This I don't think. This should have a Y there, right? It should be goy because that's the word there. Goy, of course, is the singular of people. Goyim is the plural. Verse 24. In a time and even on the fattest places.
So that's interesting. Are you talking wealth?
Well, I mean, Shmin, of course, is like oil. Like, so it's like oil or fat. For anointing oil, the word shemen is used. So it's the same like probably the kind of root is very close to that, even in the fattest places. This is even in the fatness, I think, or the oilness. Of the province, Medina, which is Medina is also a location in Iraq. But in the Gulf War, there was a big tank battle at Medina Ridge. He shall enter and he shall do that not to be done his father. So in other words, he's doing things that his fathers didn't do. Nor again his the fathers, nor his fathers.
Multi-generational.
Yeah, so his fathers didn't do this. Bizarre. Among them the prey. I don't really.
What?
Bizarre.
Are we in 24?
I think it's 24. Yes.
Without warning, he will assail the most powerful men in each province and do things his predecessors never did, either recently or in the distant past. He will reward them with plunder, spoil, and wealth, while devising plots against their strongholds, but only for a time. He was a pretty deceptive guy.
Well, this and that and this. It's like,
Okay, so you do get the fathers nor their father's father type,
Mm-hmm.
multi-generational.
generational.
So among them the prey and spoil and riches, like he shall scatter against the strongholds. So prey here is, in other words, I think that it's talking about
Plundering and
plundering. Yeah, the plunder, perhaps.
the spoil and the
Spoil
wealth
and
that he gets.
riches. Kush. He shall scatter.
Whoever wrote that had a vivid imagination.
Sorry.
I mean, in the way, it's very dramatic. It's like-
And he shall forecast.
See, forecast.
Yakshev.
We're still in 24.
Mm-hmm.
Antioch, the fourth, Epiphanes, defeated the Egyptians and crowned himself king of Upper Egypt at Memphis, something his predecessors had not done. Then he took spoil from the wealthy areas of Egypt and gave it to the poor. He also weakened the fortresses in Syria in order to be sure that he had no strong enemies in his own country. This was successful for the rest of his 12-year reign.
Verse 25, he shall stir up his power, power, and his courage against the king of the Negev.
And that was Ptolemy the sixth.
Bechael, army, soldiers, with a great gadol. So Bechael, gadol, and the king and the melech of the Negev here shall be stirred up for milchama.
See, it's war. Milchama.
And in army, Bechael, gadol, vayasum, with a odd and a very me'od, a great me'od, strong, but he shall stand for. It's hard to read what the meaning is here. How does your verse 25 read?
He will summon his power and courage against the king of the south with a great army.
Yeah.
And the king of the south will fight back with a very large and powerful army, but he will not succeed because of plots deceived against him.
Oh, I see. This should be
Low
is
no.
not. So it should maybe this is, but he shall is not an accurate translation. He'll not stand. The low is and not stand for. They shall forecast or I don't know about forecast. He shall not stand against the schemes or the attempt to take him down. Verse 26. They who feed of the portion of his, food shall destroy him his army. So an insider sounds like.
Those who share his food will destroy him. His army will be swept away, and many will fall in the slaughter.
Yep.
These guys like to do each other in.
Yeah. Not friends.
You can't trust anybody. Not a good way to live.
Verse 27. And both these king hearts. Definitely is hearts. To do harm. And at the Taben, Shulchan, table, at one table, Shulchan Echad, lies, Kazav, they shall speak. So sitting at the same table, and they are speaking lies. But it shall not, velo, shall not prosper. Titzlach. Ki od kits. Shall not prosper for yet the end. In other words, it's not the end. It's not the appointed end time. Lemoed.
I was gonna say, I was expecting that part of that word.
Okay.
Moedim.
Yeah.
The appointed
In
time.
times or top moedim are of course appointed times, right?
Right.
Verse 28. The Yeshov shall return into his land,
Mhm.
Birchush, riches, with great in his heart against the covenant.
The Holy Covenant.
Brit Kodesh, that's correct. And he shall do exploits and return. Really, the exploits is not there. He shall return to his own land. At the appointed, La Moed, he shall return and come into the south, into the Negev, but it shall be as the former or as the latter. How does your English
It shall
translation read?
not be.
It shall
At the designated.
not be, shall not, again, yes, it shall not be
At the designated
as a
time,
former
he will
or as the
come-
latter.
He will come back to the south, but this time, things will turn out differently than before.
Shall not be the same.
Yeah, shall not be as the former or as the latter, so as it was before or later.
I think the Romans are coming after him.
Yeah. He shall come in for the ships. Katim is the Romans. Therefore he shall be grieved. So the Romans are going to come by in ships. He shall be grieved and return and have indignation against who? Beit Kodesh, same as before, right?
The Holy Covenant.
Holy Covenant. And shall even return and have intelligence.
So in favor of those who abandon the Holy Covenant.
Yes, he's
Yeah, there is.
favor, I think probably, yeah. Those who forsake Brit Kodesh. So he's gonna favor those who forsake the Holy Covenant. Verse 31. And arms or force of arms on his part shall stand, and they shall pollute the Mikdash, the sanctuary, or defile.
Oh,
Yeah, the file is a good word.
The sanctuary of strength, Hamat will take away the tamid or the daily. The word sacrifice isn't in the text, but tamid is a euphemism for the daily sacrifice of tamid.
okay.
And they shall place the abomination, hashikuts, which desolates. Shomim, Mishomim, with desolation, with desolate. Yeah. from. Verse 32. And they shall do as such as do wickedly against the covenant and shall corrupt Yaknif, by smooth. So deception might be a way to say this perhaps, but ochot. But the people that do know, yada, of course, to know, Elohe, their El, their God. And be strong. Of course, hazak is the root word here, to be strong. Hazak, need hazek. And do, and be strong and do, so to make, to do, asa. And they do understand, maskil, among the people, people. In other words, when it, in this sense, it's the Jewish people, right? That's what's going on. Understand among the Jewish people, so instruct the many, give instruction to the many. And they shall fall by the sword and by the flames, by captivity. This is being incarcerated, stopped from moving, and by spoil or plunder. It was used as prey in the previous thing, but plunder. Days. Yamim is days, so it's implied many days. Verse 34, and when they shall fall, and when they shall fall, they shall be helped as there. You see as there twice here, essentially. Help with a little, and shall cleave to many with them in hypocrisy. Halakot again. This is halakot. In hypocrisy, and of some of them understanding, maskil, understanding. It shall fall in order to refine in them by him, litrof, to refine, and to purge. So there is a refinement, a purging, a essentially to make them white. Levan here is white. It's the root word of Lebanon.
So that would be pure.
It's three words here together: to refine, to purge, and to make white. So to make pure, sifting, so to speak. Ad, it, kits. Ki od, because yet is for the time point. So if you read it, how does the translation of verse 35 read here?
Even some of those with discernment will stumble, so that some of them will be refined, purified, and cleansed for an end yet to come at the designated time.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a Moedim. Yeah.
Well, Ori, could be. Moed.
Moed.
Verse 36. and shall do as he pleases. Hamelech,
The king shall do as he pleases.
yes, the king shall do as he pleases,
Mhm.
and shall exalt himself and magnify himself. So the one, I mean, just by name, Antiochus Epiphanes, so he is magnified. In other words, he's a,
He makes himself out to be a god.
yes, that's correct, yeah. Above every El and against El Elim, the God of gods. And shall speak marvelous things.
Utter monstrous blasphemies against the God of gods.
Niflot. Yeah, this has marvelous Niflot. Could be, it's things that would certainly be blasphemous against the God of gods. And shall prosper until he accomplished Za'am, the indignation, for that is determined shall be done. In other words, what's going to happen to him shall, happen to him. It's determined shall be done. Verse 37. And above the God of his fathers, neither shall he regard. So in other words, he's not regarding even the God of his fathers, and above nor desire of women. Interesting.
Yeah, it's an odd. He will show no respect for the gods his ancestor worship, or for the God women worship. That's an odd phrase. What is the God women worship? He won't show respect for any god because he will consider himself greater than all of them. That's the rest of the verse.
Well, it looks to me, I mean, when you read it, and not the God of his fathers, doesn't regard, and above nor the desire of women, and above all. So, is it connected to the God of the women here?
That's what it says in here.
Yeah.
He will show no respect for the gods his ancestors worship, or for the God women worship. He will show no respect for any god, because he will consider himself greater than all of them.
Yeah.
They had so many, all those tribes had their own gods and everything.
Multiple, yeah.
And that's why they could kill each other or raid each other. So they get this imagination, and that's what they did. It was also demonic, so.
A couple of comments here. This is Cece's is a few minutes ago. I didn't notice it, but she's saying verse 23. Is this the Antiochus of Maccabees time? Verse 23.
23 or
Yeah, verse 23.
23.
Or is that Antiochus the Great in that one?
23 is, yeah, that's the great. We don't get to the other one, Epiphany, until 25 to 26, verse 25 to 26.
Okay. Another comment. It's interesting that the Shabbat before you mentioned the Mahdi of Islam in it. They claim the Mahdi to be, instead of God on earth, but he's definitely not the God of Jews nor Christians. Yeah, the Mahdi is kind of the messianic rescuer of Islam who will come in a time of chaos.
Oh, yeah, that's what they're looking for. They're hoping if they kill enough people or whatever.
Well, there's two different versions of the Mahdi in terms of Islamic tradition. There's the more common one, I think, more prevalent that we see is within Shia Islam. That's supposedly the return of the fourth Imam. The Shiite Ali, are the followers of Ali, who was the fourth imam, who was supposedly, according to Shia tradition, was went and hid in a cave, and he's going to return from that cave at the appointed time.
He's kind of their Messiah.
Yeah, it's yeah. There's when you see or hear about Twelver Islam, it's the return of the Mahdi, the Twelvers, the Shia, the return of the 12th Imam. Excuse me, I guess is what it's saying. So Shia Ali. Yeah. Anyway, no, this I agree that yeah, this is definitely not the Islamic context where the Shia or Sunni is not the same concept of return of the Messiah in either the Messiah in Judaism nor in Messianic Judaism. Verse 38, and the God of fortresses. Remember, we talked about he is a fan. This person Antiochus, or his successor as the bigger version of Antiochus, is a god. It worships the god of Ma'azim, fortresses, strongholds. But in his estate he shall honor. In his estate he shall honor, and a god whom not known, not known of his fathers. So when you think of, well, one thing that might be puzzling for me in this sense is Antiochus supposedly erected a statue of Zeus in the temple, but Zeus was known as a Greek god, so that would not be a fulfillment of this. I think he's honoring a god that was not, that his fathers did not know.
Maybe he put one of himself instead.
Yeah. Honor
Because
with gold
he
and
thought he
silver
He thought he
and
was better than the
stones
rest of them.
precious and pleasant things.
Basically, he honored strongholds, money, and himself.
Mm-hmm. Strongholds, the strongest with a god, Eloah, strange, Nakar. In other words, it's honoring a strange god. It says Eloah,
It
Nakar.
says he will honor a god unknown to his ancestors.
Yeah, because Aser, knowledge, he shall acknowledge, increase, Yarva, with kavod, glory, and shall cause them to rule. Over the many and the land, Adma, and he shall divide it, shall divide for a price.
He's distributing land as a reward.
Verse 40, and the time of the kits, the end, he shall push at the king of the Negev, and he will storm against the king of the north, and he, as in, I guess, the king of the south, will storm against the king of the north with chariots. And with horsemen and ships, many. Uva shall enter into the countries, plural, and shall overflow or overwhelm and pass over. Again, abar, to pass through, pass over. It shall enter land and also into the majestic, tzvi, and many countries shall be overthrown, but these shall escape out of his hand. Edom, Moab, and the chief of the sons, Reshit Beneh of Ammon. Verse 42. He shall stretch forth his hand against other countries, and the land of Mitzrayim, Egypt, not do escape. So the land of Egypt does not escape. They shall have power over the hidden of gold and silver, and over all the precious things of Mitzrayim, Egypt. And the Libyans, Levim, and the Ethiopians, Cushim, shall be at his steps. Or his,
I have Put, so Put is Ethiopians. Not Ethiop, no, the other people. The starts with the L. Libyans.
well, it's not put in here.
I've got Put in Ethiopia.
Looks like it's Levim here, which right here is Libyans. I'm not sure. The word isn't put here though.
Okay.
Cush, though, is Egypt, or Ethiopia, excuse me, Cushim. The Levim, and the Luvamites, I don't know. The Libyans, it has here, is the Luvim, and the Ethiopians,
We're going into Africa.
at his steps, yeah. Verse 44, but news shall trouble from the east, Mizrach. And out of the Tzifon, the north, he shall go forth fury with great to destroy.
With great fury
With-
to destroy.
Yes, with great fury to destroy. To utterly make away many, and shall plant ahole. I don't really recognize that word, ahole. Translate here as the tabernacles
It says
of his
tents.
palace. Okay.
Yeah. Finally, he.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pictures the tents of his palace
Right.
between the seas and the
Oh,
mountain of.
I'm typically thinking of it as ohel. Ohelim is tents. Yeah. This has it as tents of his palace between Yamim, the seas, Har's mountain, again Tzvi, majestic or majesty, Kodesh, the holy mountain, and shall come to his end, Kitz, and none shall help him. So go back to this. He's going to plant his tents, or to set his tents up of his palace. So you see, this it seems odd to set up a tent of a palace, all right? Because
Probably compared to the Bedouins, it was a palace.
Yeah, it's true.
between this tent,
It's
yeah,
true, that's about what it would be.
but it has marvelous tents, palace-like tents, huge tents. Between the uh, the if you go to the seas, Yamim, and the mountain, holy, majestic.
Jerusalem.
I think so. Come to his end, and none shall help him. That is the end of chapter 11.
Thank
You made
goodness.
it.
Survived. Let's pray. But thank you for allowing us to study your word. We thank you for your blessings of doing that in freedom. In Yeshua's name we thank you.
Yes,
Amen.
thank you for waiting.
Yeah, my brain went about
I know.
10 verses ago.
Shalom, shalom.